When I was in active addiction, I was always ready for the day that I was going to have to use my prison pocketbook, if you know what I mean. But I didn't think it would happen like this. What's up, you guys? My name's Nicole Pludre. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and I love to talk about drugs, addiction, recovery, and so much more. And today I'm going to tell you a motherfucking story time. So let me set the scene for you. It was 2011. I had been out of prison for about a year, and I was high as Cooter Brown on motherfucking Roxy's. Roxy's were my thing. I had just really gotten into shooting them, and I couldn't go a day without having them. And this particular day, I was out and I needed to re-up. So I went over to my friend Gerald's house. Now, me and Gerald, we were like peas and fucking carrots. We would go get our Roxy's, go shoot up together, and then nod out all day long at his apartment or my apartment. You know, just besties like that. And so we had called our drug dealer Z and told him, hey, we need some Roxy's. Where can we meet you? He was like, hey, meet me over at the Fun Wash. So, like any good drug addict does, we jumped in my motherfucking car and drove to the Fun Wash. He met us there. He was actually on time this time. And we got our pack and he left. Well, we could not wait. So we decided to do our shots right there in the Fun Wash, parking lot, in the car wash little thing. And so we did our shots, and then I sat my syringe in the car, like the little side thing of the car door, just right beside me. And Gerald, I don't know where he put his, but he had his on him, right? So we drove off. Now, what I failed to tell you guys at the beginning of the story time is that a bitch is stupid. A bitch was desperate, and a bitch was driving with a car that had no car tags. My car tags were expired, and my insurance had lapsed. Something that my dad always told me to make sure that I stayed on top of. He would always tell me, make sure you don't let your shit lapse. Da, 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 da. He would always tell me that. Well, I let it lapse. Honey, next thing I know, I see blue lights. I'm like, man, whatever you got on you, hide it, So I grabbed my syringe out of the door because that's all I had. And I put it in my prison pocketbook. Honey, when I tell you I was scared as hell, that cop came up to my window and she said, right now, I don't want you to move, but I saw him bend down and throw something underneath the passenger seat. So she walked around, had him get out of the car, and found a bottle of Xanax underneath his passenger seat. And she put him in handcuffs and arrested him. So then she came over, she called for backup, and she searched me, and she found nothing. She said, listen, I didn't find anything on you, so I'm going to let you go. So I go to get back in my car. I'm like, yeah, baby, yeah. Right? I go to get back in my car. She's like, you're not driving away. You have no car tags or insurance. We're impounding your car. When I tell you guys, I had Bertha for 12 years. I named my car Bertha. It was a blue Ford Focus, a 2000 model. I graduated in the year 2000. I bought that car when I graduated high school. I put $5,000 down on that car because I worked at the revenue office in Sonic for almost 2 whole summers saving money. My dad had me give him all of my tips. And so I literally bought that car on my own. I paid it off and everything. I freaked the fuck out. I was like, what do you mean you're impounding my car? She's like, we're impounding your car. So I called my parents immediately. And I'm like, they're impounding my car. Can you please get it out of impound? This was one of the first times my parents really fucking put their foot down with me. And they were like, no, we're not getting it out. And I was like, what? And they're like, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. We're not getting your car out of the impound. Holy shit. So for the next 2 days, I am panicking because as the car stays in impound, the price goes up. They keep tacking on fees, right? So finally, I was like, I'm not going to be able to get the money. So what did I do? A bitch put it for sale on Facebook Marketplace. For sale, $3,000. It was a 12-year-old Ford Focus with over 100,000 miles on it, one owner. So, ding, 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 I got a bite. A lady called, she said, I'll buy it. I said, there's one thing you have to get it out of the impound first. She's like, no problem. I'll pay for the fees and I'll give you what's left over. And I was like, bet. So she came and picked me up. We went and got my title from my parents in Hot Springs. She drove me all the way to Hot Springs, which is like 45 minutes away, to get my title. I signed it over to her. She got my car and gave me like $2,600. And I was like, there went, bye, Bertha. Like literally, y'all, I cried. I mourned the loss of this vehicle. That's when everything changed for me in my addiction. Because see, up until this point, I had been able to get around. I had a place to stay. If I didn't have a house to stay in, I could sleep in my car. So when I lost my vehicle, it put me in a bad spot in active addiction. And that's what actually pushed me to getting sober sooner. So that is the story of me using my prison pocketbook, and it actually worked. And that's how I lost my car that I had for 12 years that I bought all on my own. That was my first vehicle that I bought and paid for. If you guys have any crazy stories of experiences that you went through in active addiction, share them down below. Let's laugh together. Let's laugh at the dumb shit that we did. Because honey, if we don't laugh, sometimes we will cry. And you know what? Looking back on it, my parents did the right thing, because getting it out of impound for me, I wouldn't have learned. And my parents had started to learn then that I had to experience the consequences of my actions if I was going to make a change and get sober.